Assignment 3, here I start with the diorama 1. This is the sketch I base my diorama on. It have all the elements from the mountain, the house, the truck, to a television set and other elements. And the man is pushing the car. Here is the truck. This is just an example of one of the elements. I use paper that was like copper to create the borders. Now I need to make it look old and oxidated. So this is just an example of one of the elements. Here you can see the basket with the tomatoes. These need to be a lot more shadows and also to look older. And this is the second base where it's supposed to be leaves. And as you can see in this drawing, this is where they are supposed to be hanging. I bought these three different products because I use another air dry clay for the man in the first diorama. And this clay was really sticky, difficult to work with, so I got these three products to see how they work. For the third diorama, I bought these two dolls and I decided to add an eye at the top that is bigger than the body. So I'm gonna use these two and I'm gonna spray the bottom with some paint. Here I started to work in the head of the man who is pushing the car for the first diorama. I use this plastilene to sustain the head. This is the base, and I use dash as a clay. It works a little bit better. This is the head for the second diorama, and I started to paint it. I was leaving it dry, and this is the hand for the second diorama. So that's where we were at the second day. This is an overall look on how the car was at this stage. You can see the mountain, the house, the plates, the books, and everything started to be done. And I started oxidating the car and making the final details. But the final organization wasn't done yet, so each one of the elements is loose. By the third day, I finished the head and it's horrific. I couldn't work properly, it was too sticky in the hand, so I hated it, so I started all over again. By the second day, I also finished the television. I used just a simple box and papier mache, and I create three different buttons for the television. So I was quite happy with this. Now I put the heads inside the television and the hand so you can have a rough idea how it will look like. And that's the second diorama. I also was working on the third diorama, and these are the eyes that I was going to use for as a prop. I did the heads with the air clay dash, and I didn't like the finish and how it looks at the end. So I was going to sand it and painting so to see how they look like. By the fourth day, I started working on the background where the car was gonna stand. I used white clay that was very easy to use. This is the one sold by Tiger. It was very easy to use and I love it. So I just needed to wait it dry. This is one of the walls I was gonna use for the diorama one, and it cracked when it dries because the clay shrinks when it dries. But well, and I'm not so sure how I'm gonna fix it, but I'm probably gonna fix it. For the second diorama, I paint in black the television. I added more color to the head. I start darkening the nose and add some more details like it was made of stone. I add some red to the eyes, and now I need to add some red to the lips, and this is the hand. And I'm not so sure about the hand itself. Fifth day, I decided to start again with the sculpey clay to do the man pushing the carry for the diorama one. This is the first attempt and this is horrific. So I decided to do it again. As I mentioned it before, the air dry clay shrinks when it dries because it loses water. And I didn't know that was going to be enough to bend the board that is behind this. So unfortunately for me, it started being like her. And at this stage, I paint the clay twice and it isn't looking as good as I wanted to. This is the car for diorama 1 and I needed to fix the car. This is a brass tube that I use for this purpose. So I needed to fix a couple of things here. Well, this is how the men look now done in Sculpey. It's a little bit better. It's not perfect. And this is after being baked. It broke in a couple of places, like the jacket. It was too thin. It was very fragile. And also you can see that I didn't smear this well because I didn't have any tools to do it. And with the hands, it was very difficult. But this clay is more solid, easy to work with. I think gonna use this clay later on is doing a similar project. This is the second diorama. These are the elements. This is the base that I'm gonna use to put the face on top. I painted the eyes and add the red so the eyes pop up, and I use a glaze so it looks more like real eyes, but it's not working well, so I need to do it again. And I think I need to add more shadows to bring the features back. I decided to add some blue to the hand, but it isn't working, so I'm gonna repaint the hand again. And I paint the television to have some highlights. So now it's blue. I'm gonna add some yellow to finish the touch. At this stage, I didn't work much in diorama 3 or 4. This is the only thing I did for diorama 3. And I bought like a capsule for the diorama 4, and I create like a base to work with, and bought some people in miniature people for the diorama 4. So this is where I am at this stage. Here you can see the man pushing the car as the final work. I use paper to cover the jacket so you cannot see the cracks in the polymer clay, and I think it looks really well. I like this used jacket feel that it has, and even though I know the hands could have been way better, and the face also, if everything go according to plan, you cannot gonna see it. The next thing that I did was painting this darker, and I did an eye. This is where I think it should be, and I think I'm gonna attach it with a wire to make it come forward, but I'm not so sure yet, so I'm working on the aesthetics of this. This is the second diorama. I add some gold to create some highlights in the television. I create like a stand, but I decided not to stick the head. It's a little bit unstable, but allow you more flexibility in how to move it. And this is the hand. Now it's painted in a different color because I wanted to highlight it. The third diorama haven't progressed. I tried to paint it with white acrylic as very fast to create like the first coat, but it didn't stick to the plastic, so I'm gonna spread it in gray. Now the fourth diorama, I create this mountain, and the idea was to see the eye from above because I want to create this feeling of falling the eye. The mountain was just a prop for that feeling, but it was too big for this, and also at the end I didn't know how to add the miniature people to the mountain. So this was a failure, and I think I need to come with a better idea for this. And I also painted the miniature people in brown to have some contrast. The first diorama is almost done. I just start working how I was gonna take the pictures, and see if I can move the man a little bit more to be more flexible. But in general, it's almost done. Here you can see how the eye ended up. Is this wasn't the best decision because you don't have the flexibility of moving it up and down and created a feeling, but I like the eye in general, so now what is rest is to paint it. Well, I painted the hand. That was the last thing I needed to do, and it's almost ready to take the pictures. Perhaps I'm gonna add some highlights with pastel colors, but so far this is already done. I progressed a lot in the diorama tree. I created the bus stop that I needed. Now we only need to paint the eyes, but they are almost done. So I'm very happy. The only problem is the bus stop have a curvature, but the rest is looking pretty good.